Yo, what is going on, everybody? A couple of days ago, I did a big long video for a birthday stream, and that left me a little knackered. I just decided to have a bit of a rest over the weekend and kick back for a bit. So that's why I'm doing this now. And I know a lot of you guys in the US will be asleep, so I'm sorry you couldn't catch me live for those of you who are already asleep. But this is one for my Aussie brothers here as well, and particularly in some ways because there's a certain someone, fellow a fellow member of the manosphere, someone who put forward a rather moving video and a tribute to his father just yesterday. For those of you who have heard of him or haven't heard of him, his name is Human. That's Hugh Man. If you search Human MGTOW on YouTube, you'll be able to find him. And yeah, I love his work. He's a great as far as like just sitting there and talking. His philosophy is on point. I really love it, and he's always got a lot to say, and he's very thought provoking. He doesn't tend to take sides. He just talks about his experiences. He talks about his observations. He talks about his views and opinions, and I find he does it in a very balanced way. Sadly, his father passed away in the last week or so. I'd been wanting to do this video earlier, but it wasn't my place to go out talking about it until he did. But he spoke about it the other day, so the cat is out of the bag. So to Human, if you're watching this, much love and appreciation for everything you do for men in the manosphere, and very sorry to hear about your father. And I think I can relate, although I don't think anyone can truly relate until they've lost a parent themselves. But I certainly, the video that you did talking about how the pain of the loss that you felt from losing your father was worth everything, because when you were saying that the love that you had for your father and the life that you had with him and the blessings, whether you're religious or not, paraphrasing here, of course, the blessings that his existence as your father brought to you were worth all of the pain you felt when he departed. And I certainly feel like I'm going to have a very similar, if not a mirror view of what you articulated the other day, Human, when my father passes away, because my father, I would have loved to have had him around more when I was younger. And when I say around, I mean, he lived in the same house, parents are still happily married to this day, but he was working a lot, and he worked a lot to sacrifice for our family. And it really gets to me when I hear this whinging about the unpaid labor that women have to do at home, right? And some men complain about it as well. And I think you should shut up, because there's no greater gift than being able to spend time with your kids. Men are killing themselves out there because they can't spend time with their kids, because they're not allowed to, because of the feminist framework that underpins family law. And while we're talking about fathers here, Human also related this back to just general life, and I totally agree with him 100%. In essence, what he was talking about was, don't shy away from risking something that may bring you great reward simply because it might end up finishing at some point and that could hurt you. Right? Don't be afraid to go out and start a new enterprise. Don't be afraid to say hello to someone. Don't be afraid to reconnect with that friend that you lost touch with years ago and you regret. And John Redpepper says, I feel like shite lately, lads. Yeah, look, I feel you, man. I've had some moments in the last few weeks where I'm just like, fuck, what's going on? But you know, life is not a trajectory where, and look, I don't know how this shows on your screen. I'm guessing that this is the left and this is the right, in terms of the left of your screen and the right hand of your screen. Let's just say this is the left hand side of your screen, even if it's not. You start with nothing in life and you start from a certain point, right? So this is your starting point. Life doesn't go on a solid angle across and up. It's not a linear line. You can't just get a ruler and say, this is the trajectory of life. Because it's not. You're going to go up, you're going to go down, you're going to have squiggles and turns, you're going to have highs and lows, and you know, you're going to have steps back and steps forward. It's life is just, if you in fact, if you live a trajectory like this, what an empty life you must live. And anyone that's living a life like that, I really truly encourage you, and I implore you to look at what you can do to grow, to look at what you can do to improve your life, and you know, essentially explore the unexplored. Because there's a lot of people right now that are hurting. There's a lot of people that are missing out in life. There's a lot of people that are going without simply because they're worried what might happen if they step outside their comfort zone. So what? So what if something happens? So what? You're gonna live with regrets just in case? You're gonna live a life of live a bland and unexciting life just because something might happen? Really? Is that how you're going to choose to go down? Because you do have a choice. I know people that have grown up under the most adverse circumstances, right? Violence in the home by both their mother and their father. I know people who've grown up in poverty, in a family where nobody is educated, in a family where no one has any aspirations, no inspiration to be greater than what they are. And yet that person said to themselves, I want to make a choice to not be this. I want to make a choice to progress, to build. I want to make a choice to be something more than what the others around me are. I want to lift myself up, and you all have the potential to do that. And it's very, very, very important that you don't waste what you have. Because by God, I've wasted so much time not speaking out. I've wasted so much time not doing what I'm good at. I've wasted so much time worrying about what might happen if I do something that I might be good at. Think about that. You know, right now I'm like, well, while things are quiet, I may as well do what I've always wanted to do and get my pilot's license. So I'm looking at getting my recreational pilot's license. That'll be sweet. I love flying. Shout out to one of my longtime subscribers. I appreciate you, man. Daniel Corica says, hey, my ginger brother from down under, here is a 5-spot for dingo food. Stay coronavirus free. Appreciate that $5 donation, man. I will stay safe. I've been keeping my distance and stocking up on, food. I'm not hoarding food, but I'm stocking up on it, every sort of week and a half, fortnight, however long the distance is between when I get all the food and run out. So yeah, no, I'm really excited about potentially going and getting my license. And this is the thing, right? Like I was watching a show, you see shows like air crash investigations. You see shows like island air when they're flying in the Atlantic, and you see them flying and the alternator fails, and they're basically running on battery power, and they could crash at any time. You see them getting caught in storms. You see all sorts of stuff going on. So, see car crashes on the road, you're going to stop driving? No. But Sydney, you could die if your power fails in a plane. Yeah, but you could live. What's the difference between being on the road? You could live or you could die on the road. There's a hell of a lot more room for error up in the sky when you're flying, and more time to plan for an accident. I'm just saying, not everything's black and white. There's a lot of gray out there. Yes, it's exactly. Seconds from Disaster is a crazy channel. Same for the Flight channel. But I love this stuff because you see the way that people respond to things. I think it's really good that guys actually, get to see documentaries like this. Watch documentaries, watch shows about when shit goes wrong in the field that you want to excel in. You know why? Because when you watch shows about when shit goes wrong, you become desensitized to it. And when you become desensitized to it, you're then able to think more rationally, because you're not in fear mode if something like that happens to you. Because you've seen it so many times, you're like, oh, I know what to do here. I'm not gonna, if you get a stall warning while you're on full throttle heading on a downwards angle, you're not gonna pull up even more, are you? Well, there's obviously something else at play, and you start to rely on your trained instinct rather than your panic instinct. This is the same in business. This is the same as in relationships. And when I say relationships, I mean friendships, I mean family, I mean if you're in a partnership as well. Right, this is the thing. Shinobi1 says, how's your Corona-chan girlfriend? I don't know what you mean by that. Dynamite Rabbit says, you could croak it from being married. It might take 45 miserable years, though. I thank you for that $20 donation, Dynamite. And yeah, look, Dynamite Rabbit is 100% correct. Marriage can be one of the most stressful things you would ever go through. Especially if you don't understand the nature of women. And the nature of women has not changed an awful lot since the beginning of time. Just the external influences that enable those particular traits and natural inclinations to happen have changed. So, and look, we've got our own inclinations, right? We're not perfect. I'm not saying, man good, woman bad, because, well, that would just be the opposite of feminism. And feminism is bullshit and cancer and needs to be eradicated. And for anyone who thinks that feminism is about equality, it is about the advocacy of women's rights on the grounds of the equality of the sexes. Not the advocacy of human rights, not the advocacy of equal rights, the advocacy of women's rights and women's rights only. And they don't care if those rights infringe upon the rights of men. So no, it is not an equality movement. It is a supremacy movement. It always has been. It always will be. And the reason why, even when things get debunked, they keep complaining about it is because feminism cannot exist without victimhood. It cannot exist without victimhood. It can't. Because if the wage gap was closed tomorrow, right, by women collectively making choices that would result in that, such as working longer hours, working more dangerous jobs, becoming more disagreeable, which of course would then result in them not being as suitable a partner for the male that they might want to attract. See, you'll never have equal outcomes across the board, particularly not when it comes to men and women. You won't get equal outcomes. You can give equal opportunities. This is what it is. is what it is. Anyway, guys, I'd love to know. And by the way, Marie says I was reading your response on 21 Studios. I don't think they were understanding you. Well, they weren't understanding me because they didn't want to listen, because them listening and being balanced with their interpretation of what I had to say, and actually looking at things on a factual basis, that would mean that they would have to go against their ideology, which is feminist ideology, which again lives only in a space of victimhood. What else we got here? MGTOW Lucid Dream says, are you envy of Joker's bust? Guys, for those of you who are a Better Bachelor fan, Joker the Better Bachelor, you know, the guy with a face for radio and a voice for print, he's got this really fucking... this is an example, right, of something that there might be a risk to it, but, you know, the reward could potentially far outweigh that. Go and check out in the description of his YouTube videos. He's actually got links to his YouTube channel where he is building a bus, and that thing is sick. Like those lacquered countertops, it's like a mirror with wood grain built in. I love it. I love it. So go check that out if that's your thing. Anyway, guys, look, I would love to get your comments after this live video finishes. I'd love to get your comments around what you are going to do, how you are going to step outside your comfort zone to do something that you've always wanted to do, even though there's a risk to it, because the rewards are greater than the risk. Please share that in the comments below. I want you to send this video to as many people as you can who think that it needs to be heard. And if you want to support this channel, please like, subscribe, share. If you subscribe, hit the all button next to it where the bell is. And if you want to try out a new web browser, you're not happy with Google Chrome or you're using something else, check out Brave browser at sydneymgtow.com/brave. If you want to donate, as always, as the generous gentlemen in the chat today have, you can always super chat or head on over to PayPal, or I've got crypto links as well. Everything's in the description below. I appreciate you guys. Until next time, I really hope that you take action based on this towards something that's going to give you a positive outcome. I appreciate you, men, and I'll see you soon. Peace.